Well, folks, it's been a while since I've talked about art and comic books. Um, so, in this one, I'm just going to discuss um, comic books. It's been a while since I talked about that. Um, I have a whole bunch of comic books right here. Wow. I love comic books. Um, I like watching, what I love watching more than uh, comic books, what I love reading more than comic books, I rather watch movies. I love watching movies. I love watching sci-fi movies, especially. Um, I love watching action movies. I love watching crime dramas and stuff like that. And I'm the same way about comic books. I love action comic books, crime dramas, police, the good guys beat the bad guys, guns, and all like that, which brings me to sometime within my retirement, I'm going to finally get my book done on. Um, I'm writing. My medium that I want to do comic books in is going to be Christian fiction, which is going to be like moral stuff, but with authority and power, the good guys beating the bad guys, that kind of thing. Um, that kind of thing, you know. That's what I want to do. By the time I retire, I hope to publish, start publishing graphic novels. I really have this passion to publish graphic novels. Now, my storyline is good, but my artistic work, I got to catch up. I got to catch up. I got to practice. But anyway, again, I love comic books the way I love watching PG-13 action movies, things of that nature. I love playing video games, shoot 'em up video games, Rainbow Six, Brothers in Arms, and stuff like that. Army games, police games, Escape from New York, Escape from Los Angeles, that kind of stuff. I like my comic books the same way. Now, I don't read comic books that often. I read them whenever there's a blackout in my house and I can't use my TV, or there's nothing interesting to watch on TV or YouTube. And I use them when I go like out of town, and I'm in a place where there's no TV or there's nothing interesting to watch on TV, or if I'm in a room with someone and they're watching something boring on TV that I have no clue what they're watching or what it's about or what the series about, or whatever. I'll get out one of my comic books and read my comic books to pass the time away. I even take them to the doctor's office sometime and read them in the doctor's office, to pass the time away. When I know I'm going to be sitting there for an hour or close to an hour or something like that, I'll bring comic books. So comic books are very, very good. And I also, too, with that, I read them on the bus. And when I get on the bus, I find out I'm not the only one reading comic books. There's plenty of people reading graphic novels on the buses and stuff like that. So comic books have their place. But these here are a bunch of comic books I never finished reading. Like, for example, I got the Star Trek series here. The new Star Trek series. This is Countdown to Darkness. And is there a copyright in here? I've had these for a while. I had these. These came out as soon as the new Star Trek came out. But there's one. Here's another one. Some of these, I like the storyline better than I like the actual TV series. Some of these, I like the comic book better because the comic book gives more detail. And that's one thing I like about comic books, is they give more detail. The other thing I like about comic books is, as an artist, or as a student artist, I should say, to be humble about it, as a student artist getting back into art, comic books make me want to draw. Or I can draw that, you know. So it make me want to draw, you know. I got this real cheap stuff, the Watchtower, or the Watchmen. These are interesting. Weird, but interesting. I never understand them. I have to read them over and over to understand where the heck are they going with this. I love the artwork in here, though. Real classical, real adultish. No silly stuff. You know, The Watchmen. This is volume 1. I have not read this one yet. I have not read that one at all yet. These here, I got these at the new place up at Pittsburgh Mills here in Pittsburgh. And I told them I wanted a series. I was up there and I was looking around a comic book store. I didn't want to walk out of there without buying anything. I don't want to look like some dude going in there looking for, you know, I didn't like that look. So I went in there and I asked them for Christian stuff, because I'm a Christian. I asked them for Christian stuff because there's some good Christian comic books out there. And they didn't have anything Christian. So I asked for something more like for young adults, something more mature. No nasty stuff, just something more mature. And they went to telling me the series that they get, that they're out of stock and what was left on stock. I said, well, I'll take what's left on stock. So they sent me these. I got this one and this one. And if you're familiar with any of this stuff, put it in the comments section. Let me know. But Lost Fantasy. Got these up at Pittsburgh Mills here in Pittsburgh, a mall that is very much declining. But they got a new comic book store in there that I remember from somewhere else. They put it up there in Pittsburgh Mills, and they sell a lot of stuff. So if you're from Pittsburgh, don't be afraid to go up to Pittsburgh Mills Mall. This looks like this is going to be very interesting. I think I did look through these before I bought them. These were very inexpensive. How much was this? I think I got these for like $10 a piece or something. But these are going to be very interesting, very inexpensive. Here's another one that I started to read, and I didn't finish it. I didn't really get the storyline as we were going on. I didn't really get the storyline. Maybe when I read it again, I'll get it. I got about this far to this page here, and then I think I stopped, slowed down, didn't read anymore. I don't understand the story. I don't get it, but I have to finish reading it. This one I almost read completely through, but I got bored with it because it just seemed, I don't know, it seems like the author of this comic book was so fascinated with the characters, he just wanted the characters to just talk about stuff, you know. And the thing is, this is an action drama, but there's hardly no action in it. and near the end they just talking, and that I have to finish reading this, but it's called Invisible Republic. And this is coming more in one volume. Yeah, this is volume 1. So maybe volume 2 I would like that better. I don't know. Visible Republic. Invisible Republic. Okay. This here got boring too. This is going back to like the 80s or earlier comic book style. And it's all black and white, no color. But I got to finish reading it. I got bored with it right before I got to the second chapter. I got bored with it. Agent Gates. Very interesting. It's got texture on it. Whoever made this, you can tell he's been in the comic book business for a while. But it's like that game Clue. Remember Clue? Where you got to figure out who murdered who or whatever. This book is kind of like that. It's all about who murdered who and all that kind of stuff. This was a nice one that I didn't finish reading. It's really weird. Then again, maybe I did finish reading it. Because I remember her and the cop getting connected. Yeah, she has like superpower or something. It got really weird because I never understood what is her superpower. Yeah, I did read this one all the way through. I'm probably going to read it again. Maybe I'll understand it better the next time. But this girl has she has a gift. She has superpowers. And I don't understand what her superpowers is because she never uses them in this volume. This is ever volume. Explicit content. I got this at Ollie's. It's right there, Ollie's. I didn't finish reading that. This here is like, what I like about this one here, Spix or whatever, this is mostly black and white. There's some really nice stories in here. It's kind of like, I think this is the same people that do Love and Rockets. You can look at the artwork on the front. It looks like Love and Rockets. I think there is a Love and Rockets chapter in here or something. But a lot of it, what I admire about it is the artwork. That's the greatest thing because you have all these different artists in here putting one of their skits in here. And it's all about artwork, Everywhere you go, it's different artwork. Everywhere you go, it's different artwork. And it's the artwork in here that really, really makes me want to read it because, books like this show you that it doesn't take a whole lot of skill to do comic books. You have to take a thought for your storyline, take a thought for your characters, each character. That's the hard part. Each character and what they're going to be doing, what they look like, how tall they are, how short they are, how fat they are, how skinny they are, whatever. You got to be really dynamic with your characters. And, you make your storyline and you make your book, and that's good. And it's good. It's good, I love the artists in here. They really, really know how to just make simple comics. And that's why I read this one. I read about 3 or 4 chapters in here, but I didn't finish it. Here's another Star Trek one. This one's a little bit less expensive. This one here, I didn't finish this one either. I don't know why I never finished these. I get bored after a while. Wait a minute. Did I finish this one? I might have finished this one. No, when I got down here, I didn't finish it. I didn't finish this. I almost finished it. Oh, wait a minute. This is a rendition of like the 3rd Star Trek new series. This is when they went down to the foreign people and they had to change the bomb. This is the comic book rendition of that. I forget what the name of the... Is it on here? The Truth About Tribbles. Yeah, Tribbles. I don't know if that was the island or if that was. But as you can see, the way it's wearing and tearing, I did read this. I did read this through actually. Got some of it sticking together back here. I don't understand that. But there it is. Star Trek. This here book is really, really weird. Another book that I didn't finish. I read the front of it, and I got confused with it. But the New York Times bestseller. There's two different artists in here. It's really, really interesting. But I have to read it again and finish reading it to try to get what it's really talking about. I haven't read that all the way through. And then I even got Archie's. I picked this up a little while ago at a I think I picked this up at Barnes and not Barnes and Noble. I think I picked this up at Direct Edition. I don't know where I picked this up at. I think I picked this up like in Giant Eagle or something in the magazine section or something. But Archie. Now Archie's one of the people or one of the comics that got me into comics, because back in the day when I was young, I read a lot of Archie's. And I wish I could remember the names of the other ones like Archie's that I used to get into. Now here's a Christian one, and I did not read this one all the way through either. I read it halfway through. 101 Questions About the Bible and Christianity. I read this halfway through. I read this halfway through. It's very interesting. And it's not a very long book. And this is the first volume of it. I'd like to purchase the second volume as well, but I have a ton more in the closet over here. I have a ton more comic books in the closet. I have some that I read. I have that book. I don't know if you ever heard of Chew. I think I did this way back about 3 years ago when I first got that Chew comic book. I think I did a review on that. Now that's a comic book I think I read through twice, all the way through. Chew. It has a TV. It had a TV series to it, just like Star Trek. But that's a nasty story, man. This guy tasting people's puke and stuff to solve their crimes, to track them and find out where they're at and all that. Yeah, that's nasty. That's nasty. I mean, they put some nasty stuff in comic books sometimes, you know. But that's it, folks. Just wanted to share that with you. I felt like sharing that, being I haven't done anything on this channel in a while. If you love comic books, say hello in the comments section and tell me why. If you recognize any of these comic books that I was reviewing, let me know in the comments section. And if you have some good comic books that a 59-year-old man like me would like, let me know. I'm really interested in, I'm not really into the superhero stuff. I'm more into adult stuff, and that's the kind of stuff I try to write too. And when I say adult stuff, I'm not talking about pornography. I'm talking about, like I said, Christian fiction. I'm obsessed with gun dramas and anything where the good guys are beating the crap out of the bad guys. That's my thing. My comic books, though, are going to have a Christian twist to them, though, to where there's a moral compass that comes back at you to help you think about that moral compass as well. That's why I call it Christian fiction, because it's going to be full of action and maybe some bloodshed, and maybe some honesty about things that happen to Christians, full-blown Christian persecution and full-blown, war to protect Christianity and war to protect the innocent, blood everywhere. I don't know if I want to go that far or not, but I want to make it exciting. I wanted to make it a bestseller. After hearing and listening to a person like Myron Golden talk about how he wrote his book and he gets $4,000 monthly because of the sales on his book. I think he said he gets like 4,000. He makes, no, was it 400,000? I forget, but it's some hundred. It says, I don't know if he said 100,000. I think he said 100,000. I forget. He gets a lot of money per month on his book. He's got about 4 of them out there, but just one of them is bringing him home, I think, 100,000 a month or more, he said. I don't know if he said 100,000 a month or 100,000 a year. I could have sworn he said a month. But people are buying that book. So if you sell something out there that people love, and they love it, and so they keep buying it, and they keep sharing it, and people keep buying it, it's going to make you rich, And that's the way I want to retire. I want to retire, doing the things that I love. That's what I want to do. So, and I love getting into comics. I love the idea of drawing my own comics and writing my own comics. The writing I'm good at. Storylines, I've told people some of my comic stories and they're like, stop the car, hold up, man, let me get some coffee, I want to hear about this. My comic book stories are really, really fascinating. It's just the art that I've been lazy, and I got to really, really put my mind to it. But I got, when you draw, you can't have all these things on your mind. Like, money's always on my mind. Poverty's always on my mind. I always, bills are always getting in the way. I can never just relax and do the things that I love. There's always something else there, like even on my days off, I'm tired. I don't want to do nothing. I want to relax. I want to relax, eat, and sleep, When you talk about food, where do you want me to meet you at? You know what I'm saying? You talk about food, okay. Oh, you bring in dessert. Well, I guess we're going to be sitting here for a while, If I could have that same attitude about doing art, it'd be a smash, it'd be awesome. But there you have it. That's my video. Again, you that write comic books, read comic books, got some advice from me about comic books, please leave something in the comment section. Thank you for your time and attention. Thank you for watching this video. Jesus on. I'll see you later with more, Lord willing.